And hello, everyone. This is Mobility and Inclusion. I am Harut Markarian, and my guest today is the proud Abilities Expo ambassador for the past 4 years, Donna Russo. Donna has a huge passion for dance, and she's the star of Donna on the Go, show created by Peggy Lane that can be found on YouTube. The show has also won a Telly Award. Donna on the Go is an Emmy-submitted web services designed to raise awareness for people with challenges. Donna was born with Turner syndrome and now has adult onset FSH Muscular Dystrophy. She graduated from Mercyhurst University with a bachelor's degree in dance. Donna performed as elves, aliens, dolls, and monsters in television, film, and music videos. She was on the National Tour of Alvin and the Chipmunks and the Magic Camera as Alvin, performed in Lord of the Rings, Passions, Power Rangers, and in many other roles. Donna is also a motivational speaker and has often been asked to speak to various groups. Donna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. This is an honor, Harut. I am honored to be asked to do this.
Oh, so. It's our pleasure. It's, this is part of the mobility and inclusion that we're trying to do here at Markarian Robotics, and we are glad to have you on. And we have something in common. I also danced for quite some time.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's something I learned about you now.
I guess so. I guess so. I did have a good 13, 14 years of dance experience.
Wow. So what a connection. That's fantastic. So you know a lot about connection and dance and working with other people and bodies and everything.
Yes,
so
absolutely. When we were performing on that stage, that feeling is indescribable. I absolutely know that feeling. Yes.
Wow. Okay, you get it. You get it. Right.
Yeah. Let's give a little context to our viewers in terms of your condition. Can you please start by telling us how your physical challenges started?
Okay, I have something that's called Turner syndrome, unrelated to FSH muscular dystrophy. Mm-hmm. Now, Turner's is where part of an X chromosome is either missing or incomplete, and it can affect your size, which it did for me. It can affect your kidney. You can have a U-shaped kidney. You can have some heart issues, but every individual is different, and it happens to women. So everybody's different, and you can have one symptom, you can have some other symptoms. It has to do with the pituitary gland. Mm-hmm. So it is a pituitary issue, and can be a result. You can have small structure, mm-hmm. and people have had growth hormones. It's complex, and you can look it up at turnersyndrome.org and learn a lot about it. FSH is a muscular dystrophy disease, or issue, as I like to call it. It is a slow condition that robs your strength in your muscles, in the face, in the scapular, and actually can affect your legs as well. And it's very slow. Sometimes you don't even know what's going on. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that I had it at all. The only thing that was an issue was when I was little, I was asked to sing and whistle. And I could not whistle. And I came home and tried to find out from my dad, like, can you help me whistle? And I could never get it. I just thought I can't whistle. So I didn't really think about it. But it does have to do with the face.
I see.
So later, I was a dance major. I went on tour. I did everything, I did local shows. I did film work and everything, and nothing. I did not really realize it was a muscle thing. Mm-hmm. And what happened was I went to the gym and did a lot of workout. And I kind of exhausted my arm, and I realized I could not raise it very well. I thought, what is this, And so it slowly comes to you. It does, and sometimes you don't even know.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you have a quite experience dealing with it throughout your, throughout your life. Let's talk about what steps did you take, to adapt with your challenges as you were growing up.
Okay, for well, short stature really, and again, Turner syndrome and FSH are not related.
Mhm.
So you don't get one because of the other. It's two separate issues. But the first thing I dealt with in the beginning was a small stature, and I'm under 5 foot, so I'm 4'5". So a lot of my life I got teased by being short, and the first grade teacher had to pick me up to the water fountain. So that's an adaptation there, and the other people in school, the older kids would pick me up as soon as I got into the schoolyard because they thought I was so cute. But then the boys would make fun of me. And so adapting to people's judgment of the short stature was took some getting used to. I had a lot of help from my family. My dad would tell me not to pay any attention. Good things come in small packages. And there's actually an episode on Donna on the Go where Donna is talking about what people call you and how you feel about names, name calling. So the episode of Meeting and Mama talk about that. So it's an adjustment.
Oh.
And every kid goes through adjustments that they have problems with when they're growing up.
I'm pretty sure. I can only imagine. What about like the challenges in pursuing your passion? How did that affect? How did your condition affect that passion of yours?
Oh, okay. So I wanted to be a ballet dancer, but at that time it was like they would look at your height and they say, well, I went to the Pennsylvania Ballet. My mom drove me there, and I had a little something, little audition thing going on, and I wanted to go in and show in front of the judges or whatever, and they just wouldn't even look at me. They told my mom that she's just too little.
Yeah.
So I was devastated, crushed, but I still wanted to dance, and I still took my classes, and I still took it real seriously when I got into high school. And then of course I made my way into college as a dance major. And I just didn't want to give up on it.
And how did you find the place? Eventually, you did some dance. I saw on your website that you danced. You have some films there, some pictures there. So talk to us about how your resilience and your the way you pursued your passion got you to that point.
Okay, so my size, oddly enough, had a lot to do with getting character roles. And as dance character roles, like I mentioned, elves, aliens, dolls. I was a dancing doll, an Oompa Loompa on film, and on a stage show. So oddly enough, this size of 4'5" kind of put me in a category, and it ended up working.
Mm-hmm.
So I fit myself in somewhere, and I think what it is I didn't want to let it go enough that I just kept doing it because I loved it so much, and I just thought, well, we'll see what happens. I just don't want to give it up.
And you did well because most people start something, and they at one point when they're in front of a barrier, they tend to give up, or they say, okay, it's not for me. But if you have a passion, I think you should pursue it and you should go for it, no matter what barriers come in front of you. And once you go through past those barriers, I think the satisfaction will be there.
Yeah, there is some reason why it was calling me. There was some reason why. And it doesn't mean that I didn't try to do other things to, fulfill my other interests or try to find my other talents. because I worked in a hotel for like 30 years,
Mhm.
and also did the dance work. They knew me well enough, and they let me do the film work. But I some I just didn't give it up. It stayed there. It stayed in my head.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome. That's awesome. I commend you for that. That is a beautiful story. Let's move on to the mobility equipment that you used or now using. How many did you use? What were the challenges with those? And what would be your ideal mobility equipment for you?
okay, I started out with a cane. Um, I started out with a cane, and in my head, I did not want to walk with a cane. I put a barrier up to that because I thought somehow that was going to make me less, or make others think of me less. I'm like, I'm walking around with a cane, and I got to thinking a different way about it. And I said, well, this is what I need to move, so I better accept it. And if it's going to help my life, if it's going to help me, move and do the daily things I need to do, then I need to accept it.
Hmm.
And I thought of it in a different way. I thought of it as, an assistance thing. And sometimes you get to where you have to think, I am me, and this is not me. And what other people think of me, try to push it aside and just, you know, be the
Of
person
course.
that you can be.
Yep, definitely. And the person that you are is not by the outside appearance, or sometimes it's not even by your capabilities. The
Mhm.
you're your own person, and your inner self actually depicts what kind of person you are. And the this whole show, Mobility and Inclusion, is about highlighting this, highlighting the fact that people are more than what they appear to be, or what they appear to be able to do.
Right.
So that's really really nice to hear. So I saw one episode. I think it was. I don't know if it was the first episode that I looked at on Donna on the Go. I wanted to see what was it about, and I know it's raising awareness through humor, right? Uh,
Yes.
and you you had a cane, and you were trying to go up the stairs, but there was a ramp on the side of the building.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool, the way it was done, and it took you 20 something minutes to get to the door eventually. And is that something that that really takes you that long?
Yes, it was with the walker.
Hmm.
And Peggy, she wanted to get the perspective of myself using a walker and how long it takes me, so that people become aware of how long does it take a person who's using something to help them, like a walker or a cane. What does that feel like? How long does it take them to go somewhere? And how long is the ramp, or some of these ramps that you have to walk up to get
Yeah.
to your station?
Hmm.
We really needed to see from my perspective what's going on,
Yeah, yeah.
let
and
people understand.
and it was portrayed really nice. I even remember there was a delivery man that came in, left, and you're still trying to go up the ramp.
Yeah,
uh, It was, and it's amazing. Like for me, I wouldn't think of it, because for me that's natural thing to go up the stairs, and it's so quick, right? But when I view it from your angle, or from the Donna on the Go show, it really displays the I guess the things that you go through daily, and this is something that you have to go through daily, right? If that's your home, and you're going to go into your home, if it's taking you 20 something minutes just to get to the door, it's a quite chunk of your time that other people don't think about.
right. Oh, that's awesome. That's the point. That what you think is fast for yourself, somebody else it's a long time, you know?
Yeah, yeah, it's different perspective again. Yeah, for different perspective, different people. What and you have a custom wheelchair, correct?
Yes, I do.
And what's custom about it? Just the size, or there's other features to it as well?
Well, I had a standard wheelchair, and it was just too overbearing for me. And I was dancing in it at the Abilities Expo, and my body got lost. It was just not right for me.
Hmm.
And I thought, I can't. This is hard to work with. And when you get a custom wheelchair, as you know, they measure you, they measure your body, they measure your legs, and they make sure that it kind of fits with you, and it's something that you can work with.
Hmm.
So that's what I decided I needed to do. Um, because I thought, I'm going to use this thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. And if right now we're obviously we're retrofitting a custom wheelchair for you, and
Uh, Let me just tell you, you guys are awesome. I just am so thankful
oh,
that you,
it's our pleasure. Really, this is something that, you know, Mike and I didn't even think twice about it. You know, I pitched the idea to Mike, and he was like, "Yep, that's a great idea. Let's do it." So, you know, it's our pleasure, and our main goal is to be able to help. That's that, you know, to be able to help in some shape or form, and the rest, I personally believe that the rest will come. You know, and so I received the wheelchair, by the way. It got delivered yesterday. So this weekend, yeah, this weekend I'm gonna start designing the additional equipment so we can, you know, see how we can make it as light as possible and as easy to operate as possible for you.
wow, that would be awesome. Um,
Our
Peggy
pleasure.
Peggy puts my wheelchair in and out of the car so many times, and you know, I really appreciate it. And her back needs to be. I need to have it light because I don't want her to hurt her back anymore. And it's just, you
Well,
know,
we're gonna help Peggy too. We're gonna figure out some way to help Peggy as well.
you're awesome. You're awesome.
You're also a motivational speaker, and I'm sure you spoke to various audiences.
I did. I spoke to young kids, young dancers at Champs Charter High School.
Hmm.
Um, I've spoken to career transition for dancers. I have spoken to Turner Syndrome conference
Hmm.
in Florida and gave dance classes there. Obviously, I could move better then. So I really like to extend the my knowledge and extend my experience. And we are available. We would love to just talk about, you know, Donna on the go, and talk to people about filming and how we did it. I mean, how the things came about.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's awesome to speak and be with people and talk to them.
Oh, I'm pretty sure. And so let's say when you talk to kids, and these kids have some sort of a challenge, right? Physical challenge, or mental challenge, or hearing, seeing, whatever the challenge it may be. What's their issue with their challenge, really? Like, how do they view themselves, and what do you tell them to, you know, change their perception and their view about things?
Well, at the Abilities Expo, what we try to do is with the dance that we've done, Tam Warner and I have done lots of dance with dancers for Abilities Expo. We try to get them involved, and we try to teach them that uh, there's and everyone can dance. We had people in wheelchairs come in and dance with their arms. One girl came and danced with her hand because that's what they can move.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really good, because any way of expressing yourself and getting people to have some sort of a joy with music
Mm-hmm.
is worth it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just,
Yeah, definitely. And so inclusion is a big part of your community, or basically, right? Of this community.
yes.
Okay. Because I have another I met another person, an individual who works with the kids who have challenges, mobility challenges, and he was actually very excited when I shared this episodes and news on social media. He contacted me saying, you know, I would love to be on your show to talk about inclusion, and I'm like,
Uh,
perfect. I would love to have you. You know,
uh,
so that's one thing that maybe the next interview will be with him. His name is
uh,
Ross Moore.
who is it?
His name is Ross Moore.
Okay.
Yeah, I met him once. He's a teacher at a school. I think a physical education teacher, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to
Yeah,
give false information, but
sure.
yeah, I know he works with kids with physical challenges, and he said he'll be interested in coming on and talking about inclusion and how important that is.
This that you're doing with this show is wonderful, because it brings out the discussion, and it brings out the awareness, and it brings out the conversation
Yeah.
that is. So what you guys are doing is great.
Great. I'm glad to hear that. Let's talk about the caretakers. How many caretakers have you had? How did they help you? Do you still need a caretaker, and how often do you use them?
I have Peggy, who is just phenomenal, and we met. Of course, she's the creator and executive producer of Donna on the Go, and I met Peggy like 4 years ago, and I was looking for a place, and she was looking for a roommate, and we knew the same people in the business,
Mm-hmm.
and I did not know that all this was going to happen from our relation, from our friendship, but she's there all the time. She helps me when I fall. She helps me with the wheelchair in and out of the car. She helps me with things that are difficult around the house. If I can't get something, if I can't reach something.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to be a good friend to her.
I'm sure you are.
And I try to show my appreciation to her as much as I can. But
sounds like Peggy is your guardian angel.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. That's awesome. Relationship, friendship there. It's really hard to find these days.
Yes.
So what's the hardest thing that you do as part of your daily life? What is one thing that you do every day, but you find difficulty in doing it?
Getting dressed is a little bit difficult. It's an adjustment. Everything is an adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
I have to getting up out of a chair is an adjustment. I have a lift chair that Peggy had in
Mm-hmm.
her place, and thank God she brought it all the way down for me from somewhere else, and it helps getting up.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's a lot of little difficult things: dressing, getting up from the chair. But it's like a choreography in itself. I found a way to do it
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. And I think that's what you need to do. You need to choreograph and find out how you did it before.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
do it that same way again, and then you're okay.
Perfect. And the reason I asked that question is because I'm pretty sure you had thought about an equipment or a device or something that can make things much easier for you, right? Maybe you found that equipment, maybe you didn't, but obviously you thought about it, right?
Yes. A chair that moves, that's not so cumbersome, would be fantastic, because when you go out, you kind of like don't want to have someone, you know, push you all the time. And I have a wheelchair that I can move on my own, but your arms get tired after a while.
Yeah.
And sometimes I want to go fast and keep up with Peggy or my friends or whomever. And I mean, I guess it's easy for them when I can keep up with them. And that would be fantastic. But the things that I have seen have looked so heavy and so hard to maneuver and so expensive
Yeah.
that I just don't know if I could deal with it. But
Yeah, I was
you know,
actually watching another entrepreneur yesterday who started a similar company to mine, maybe before me probably, and she was talking about how there exist all these exoskeletons that people wear, but it's actually very difficult to get into those exoskeletons. Sometimes it takes you 20 minutes to an hour, and then it takes an adjustment period of 3 months sometimes just to get just so you get adjusted and used to that exoskeleton. And then at the end of the day, those things cost a fortune, right?
yeah,
So I guess the way to approach this is to really ask, you know, Donna, what do how do you see this work for you? You know, okay, the technology exists, but what's the adaptability or what's the practicality of it? That's a really important question, and that question or that answer, the answer to that question should come from you. You know, um, and of course, and then the price follows, and then other stuff should line up as well for it to be a successful product that can help people with physical challenges.
hmm
So that was something an eye opener again yesterday that I've been pretty involved with lately. So my last question to you would be an advice that you can give us in our endeavor here to contribute to this community.
You know, I listened to my friend Eileen Gruber the other day talking with you. Now,
Mhm.
I'm going to agree with her to listen. Everybody's different in their needs. Uh, to give them a chance to figure out in their own head that it's not an embarrassment to have a wheelchair or a walker or whatever. And to get them in their head to think of it as a different way. And you know, I'm speaking for myself too. It's hard for me to see myself in a power chair.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh my God, you know, that feels like I'm using.
Okay, let me ask you this. What do you want to see yourself using? Because to be frank, you do need some type of an equipment. For example, Eileen wants to use hover shoes, you know.
I
So what would you want to use?
would be okay with a small little thing, a little motor thing that you can just hook onto your wheelchair and it goes and then it's easy to take off. I'm okay with that. If there's any miracle way that this could be possible, I would be okay. I don't like that. It makes you feel like to use a power chair, you're like, oh my God, you know, I got to use this big, heavy 400-pound thing. I want to go, and then I need a van and a ramp to pull it up. I mean, it's bad enough you have to ask people for help and assistance and you feel like a burden. But then you're seen like this. It's just like, oh my God. you know.
Yeah, yeah. No, I
Donna,
definitely understand.
all of her stuff. You know what I mean? Here comes Donna and her walker. Here comes Donna and her cane. Here comes Donna and her raised toilet seat. Here comes Donna. You know, it's like a lot of focus on yourself. Just it's kind of hard to get over that.
I can completely understand that. I did a webinar where Eileen and Vince were present. You were there too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
you
was
were too.
there. Huh. I love
And yeah, and I talked about how the mentality should change a little bit, right? Yes, and I understand that it doesn't feel good to be using all these equipment, right? But
it.
at the end of the day, if it helps you, overcome another injury, maybe you have to look at it in a different way sometimes. And again,
Yeah,
for me, it's easier to say, obviously you and people who have physical challenges think of it differently, but that was kind of like what I researched and what I thought. The statistics said that a lot of people, because they don't use the proper equipment, they end up hurting themselves more.
right.
So that was one of the highlights of that webinar, actually.
It's true. Or you don't want to go in a wheelchair, so you go back to a cane, and then you're like, I can't do this, and then you injure. It's like it's you got to get out of the that mentality. It's you gotta train your mind different. It's easier said
Obviously,
than.
yeah. And everybody needs to train their mind, not only people with challenges. Everybody needs to train their mind to think in a certain way that is beneficial to them, of course. And that's it. Thank you, Donna, so much for being with us today.
For asking me,
Oh,
really.
our pleasure. Our
Amazing.
pleasure. I want to thank everyone who tuned in for this one. We'll see you next time with a new guest. Until then, I want you to all know that the only thing that holds us back is the awareness of what we're capable of doing.
Wow. Well said. Well
Awesome.
said.
Thank you so much, Donna. Bye.
Bye.